Hey everybody, Larry Lawton here. Got a great video for you today. I'm going to be talking about the abuses going on in our female prison systems. And it's really disgusting, people. It really is. But before I get started, please check us out on Discord, on Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok, on Facebook. All of those platforms. Please check us out. And please like, subscribe, and comment, because I'm going to comment. This is going to be a good one, because I'm going to be all over this one in the comments. Check out my book, Gangster Redemption, the cookbook. Should be here. I keep saying it. Having problems. I'm going to be doing something special for the people. And also, check out my cigar. The California prison system against women, and actually the Florida prison system with women and Lowell, and that's up in our Ocala area. Now, this is really gets me so upset, this whole entire case. It really does, people, because what's going on with these people, with the wardens and everybody else that are denying the sexual abuse of women in prison. You know, as a man who's in prison, there's sexual abuse of men in prison. Yes, there's sexual abuse of men in prison. Please don't say, oh, they want it or this, or they're just gay or whatever it is, because nobody likes that. Nobody likes it. Nobody wants it. Trust me. I don't care if you were gay, straight, or what. Nobody likes to be abused, period. And that is what is going on, and it's driving me crazy. And I mean that. I have did a lot of research on this. And, I just got done reading buku stuff from various organizations, various lawyers, various lawsuits, how much money they're settling for just to shut up. First of all, here's what's happening. Women are being abused at a rate that's just unconscionable to even imagine. 47,000 people have been abused, sexually abused, in our prison system. And that goes for men too, but mostly are women. And let me explain why it's going on. You know, the federal government came out with a thing called PREA, which is the Prison Rape Elimination Act. Well, I'll tell you what, the Prison Rape Elimination Act is bullshit if you don't follow it. How do they investigate themselves, and why doesn't the Department of Justice investigate? Yes, the Department of Justice has gone after Florida. They came in 2 years ago. They give these orders. A federal judge gives orders to say, fix this stuff. If you don't fix this stuff, somebody's going to be held accountable. They don't do anything for 2 years. It actually gets worse. They come in, and what do? They give them another break to do it or fix it or whatever you want to call it. Again, and it doesn't get done. That's the problem. Nobody's, people are scared of the federal government, but I don't think other agencies in states give a shit about them. And here's why. But here's why we should care. Yes, us, people. It could be your daughter. It could be your mother. It could be your aunt. It could be a relative or friend or somebody of you, your wife, that gets caught up in whatever she gets caught up. So I'm not judging people. You know that. And we're not saying good, bad. There aren't bad people in there. Yes, there's bad people in prison. Yes, there's people that obviously need to pay a debt to society or to be incarcerated. Listen, everybody who thinks Larry's just this liberal guy that doesn't care or just wants to let people out or give it. No, I just know the system so well. And I would think after all the time I've been out, now I've been out 15 years, and you would think, a little more, 16 years it was now. And you would think now that the prison system has changed. You know what? It's gotten worse. It really has. When the Department of Corrections itself is corrupt, how do you fix that? You gotta take people and you gotta, how do I say this? You gotta incarcerate them. You gotta put them in the same prison. You gotta put the media needs to highlight that. The media needs to show the whole system what. And here's why they don't do it. And here's why the system is not getting fixed. They can't hire anybody to work in these jobs. Yes, the correctional officers in Florida, at least, have had an increase, and California had an increase in pay. They now start at like $40,000, $41,000. Obviously, they're not getting enough applicants to fill these jobs. They're getting too young of applicants. So there's hiring processes, there's staffing problems. But the biggest problem they really have, and I want you to understand this, is policy problems. Yes, policy problems. There's ways to put things in place that this stuff doesn't happen. I've never, listen, I am a person who's seen a lot of things. I'm not a perfect person. We all know that. But I don't believe in bullies. I don't believe in people taking advantage of elderly or kids or females. And I am talking about people incarcerated. Let me explain why. You had one article that went all over about this guy. Said, well, she liked it, and we would go doing it more and more. First of all, let me explain something in prison. It's not possible to give consent as an adult to have sex with another person, a staff member in prison. There's no such thing as consent. When a person has authority over you, that's coercion in and of itself. You know what goes through the person's mind? If I don't have sex with this guy, I'm going to not get paid, which could be paid nothing. I mean, they get paid 30 cents an hour or something. And then they're not going to get that. And that could mean a lifeline for themselves. It totally could mean a total lifeline, people. So now that person has the control to control your pay or whatever it is, or your free time or your visits. You have kids and you want to see your kids. Now, you're not going to get to see your kids because this guard doesn't want you to get to see your kids. And guess what? When that happens, you're going to do whatever it takes. Listen, I watch people do some amazing things because a person has power over them on another topic. And I'm not even talking about, we're talking human stuff, people. We're not talking just money or a job or something of that nature. We're talking human stuff, like the connection you can have with your child, like the intimacy you might have, want, but you can't get. So now they have the power over that. We're talking about family connections. We're talking about faith connections. You can't go to church. You can't do this. You can't do that. And they can do that to the people. They can literally do, and they do that. So California is ranked as the worst prison system in the country for sexual abuse on female inmates by guards. Who do I blame? How about let's start with our vice president. You heard me. Yes, our vice president, Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris is a part of the biggest problem there was in California as the state attorney general. She had evidence that would have exonerated 1,000 inmates on DNA evidence and didn't do it, didn't let him out, didn't refuse to honor that evidence and really put hurdles in place for these young people to try to get out of prison because she didn't want her political career stopped. That lady doesn't deserve to be in office, doesn't deserve to be anywhere. And I can't believe there's a Democratic people that want to see that lady in office or in any way, and nobody does. She's a joke, let's face it. I don't get into politics, but I can't stand that woman. That woman is a big reason California is the worst. They don't do enough to guards. Listen, you got to set examples. They do that with inmates. They do that with people. They have all these laws set in place that if you did this and you redo something, you're going to go to prison. You're going to go maybe under what they call punishable by life, PPL. They have so many laws. The feds come up with PREA and they don't even act on it. Don't arrest people. Yes, 5 people were arrested in California and charged with rapes. They had evidence and they charged the victim with extortion for saying that somebody else said that, hey, they're going to tell on you because you're having sex with this person. It blows my mind. And here's what happens. They're finding out that while incarcerated, people don't file the lawsuits, or they do, and they get abused, or they get put in the hole. Now, listen, this is why this topic really hit me. It hit a nerve, guys. Because I was incarcerated. I was put in the hole for justice, for fighting the abuses, for retaliating, if you want to call it that, retaliating or fighting against the system and trying to correct deaths that happened when I was in prison. I was trying to do that. And they abused me. They put me in the hole for 3 years, total. Every prison I went to was in my jacket that here's a troubled inmate, and they abused me on that prison without even knowing me. That happened. Now, what they're finding is a lot of people in California, at least, are filing lawsuits when they get out, and if they pursue them, one lady got a settlement for $450,000. A lot of settlements and a lot of stuff. And the state of California is so stupid, they're letting this happen. And you know who's letting it happen? The people of California, because they're not getting these people out of office. A part of me, I heard Governor Newsom speak, and speaks intelligence, says the right things, but is he really the leader we need if this is going on in his state? Why isn't somebody? Why aren't they putting the policies in place to have people like myself go there, inspect this place, hold people accountable? And when I say hold people accountable, they don't just get suspended with pay and then get to quietly retire because they don't want the mud on the face of the organization, the California Department of Corrections, CDOC. And now California Department of Corrections is just is the biggest one. Florida's number 2. And who do you blame? Listen, why do people think it's okay? And anybody out there comes out and says, "Oh, Larry, but they committed a crime, they deserve to be there." They do not deserve to be abused. And here's why. First of all, it's humanity. It's called the 8th Amendment. It's called cruel and unusual punishment. Let's believe in that. Let's if you're gonna believe one part of the Constitution, if you're a Republican and you believe in the Second Amendment, you should believe in the 8th Amendment. Period. First Amendment, 4th Amendment, 5th Amendment. I don't care what amendment it is. You should believe in that. That's number 1. Number 2, if you traumatize people in prison, when they get out, which they will, most of them, how are they going to be on the outside? Who's going to be their next victim? Who's going to be the next person that's in trouble with whatever? Are they going to murder you because they live in your neighborhood and you look like one of the people that abused them? I don't know. But that is a common thing that happens. People get out without rehabilitation, without even having a chance, and they know about the system. They're going to go back. That's a fact. The recidivism rate, which is the rate of return for a person who's incarcerated, is up near 70% if you leave the hole. 70%. 7 out of 10 people go back to prison. It's a revolving door, and it's a money grab by private prisons, and it's disgusting in every way I can think. What got me so excited, so mad about this situation is you're taking advantage of females in a prison, putting them and groping them. Now, listen, I understand how lawsuits go. I understand how filing reports go, especially in the system. There's no way it's not worse than what we're seeing, obviously. You write certain things, but when they find out the trauma that happened to some of these people, you say to yourself, wait a minute, hold on. We knew this was going on and we just let it go on. In my opinion, that's tantamount to murder. That's tantamount to losing lives. That's what is the worst thing about this, is that we know what it's doing to people and we're not fixing it. I reported on this, I reported on this, probably 2 years ago. And I said I'd visit again, and there's more and more articles coming out, and nothing is changing. And at what point do I even become more of an advocate? I don't know. I'm doing a lot of work with GTA. I'm going to be doing reviews. I got a lot of, things in the hopper, but I can't not do this. I'm doing this late at night one night because I fell down the rabbit hole and looked at all this paperwork and said, what are we doing to people? At what point are we going to take these people and stop it? I mean, you're talking about attorneys that have filed lawsuits, the poor prison conditions, the deprivation, space, soap, physical products, not getting any. How would you like to be a female and not be able to have a hygiene item like tampons or pads? And they tell you tough luck, bleed on your clothes. Think of that. I have a daughter. And I can't stand it when I hear this kind of stuff. And all of this stuff I'm reading, and I read it from various organizations, people. Let me let you know, I am not a nut job. I'm not a crackpot. Yeah, I mean, forget it, the Logan Paul, but they actually, I read through this stuff, and it makes me sick. It gives me a, how do I say it? It gives me a pain in my stomach. It really does. It gives me a pain in my stomach. And the pain in my stomach is to realize that right this minute there's somebody being abused in prison. And it's a place that's not supposed to happen. We're supposed to rehabilitate people, and once you take them in your care or incarcerate them, they're your responsibility to protect as well. Because these people didn't get death sentences. These people didn't get to be, abused. What kind of country are we a third world country now? Obviously, our prison system is totally third world. And all the people that are supporting this, by not speaking up, by congressmen just, laughing about this, not getting the hearings, are the ones that should be actually paying for this. Because it drives you nuts. The low rate of prosecutions can be explained in part by the low number of cases found substantiated by prisons. Here's what happens. You file a BP in the federal system. It's called the BP 8, BP 9, BP 10. You have to file up the system. And they do their own investigation. They have an organization in the feds called SIS. Bunch of fucking tweebs, too. We need independent outside organizations to come into these prisons and hold them accountable. And when they held somebody accountable, maybe they should hold that warden accountable. And I don't mean just fire him. Maybe he should be held to some other degree by hiring or not managing the people in prison. Things happen, I get it. They passed a thing called a deliberation. Deliberate indifference is what the hurdle for a 1983 lawsuit under federal code 1983. If you get that deliberate indifference, you have to prove it's hard to prove deliberate indifference. You have to prove it by prior acts. And sadly, it's very easy to prove that in most prison systems about the prior acts of violence. It's just easy to prove. Now, when you think about that, you say, wow, how bad really is it? What are they not telling us? How much penetration? How much, stuff? I've watched men get abused by men guards in prison. They say sometimes, oh, it was consensual or whatever. That's bullshit again. You cannot give consent if somebody is over you. The consent is not, because it's a false permission, false consent they call it. You cannot consent to something when you have pressure over your head, period. It might be intimidation, it might be whatever it's going to be, and they have it going crazy. Oh, I now that I'm built up, I wanted to open your guys' eyes on the abuses going on in our prison system right now, right today. And maybe we're going to come up with something to try to help do letter writing campaigns or something to make a difference. It's one of my core issues. We all know that. I like telling you about the stories, but I like to tell you about success stories as well. So with that, everybody, stay safe. Please don't do anything to get incarcerated. If you have a loved one in prison who's incarcerated, please give them my best and stick by them. They had enough going on in their lives. If that's what I'm all about. Hang in there, everybody. I will see you in our next video.